I have finally done it. After 6 months of procrastination, I have finally created a new plugin template and have remade all of my plugins using the new system. Over that period of time, I worked on a new plugin template to replace my ancient mess of code that I've been expanding since I first started publishing plugins in November of 2019. This video will focus on the story behind my new plugin template creation. I'll have a separate video showcasing the plugins with the new system. However, the plugins will be shown in comparison footage throughout this video as well. Why did I do this to myself and spend so long on recreating my plugins if they already worked? Well, they might have worked visually for the people who use my plugins, but it was extremely hard for me to bring new features from newer plugins to older ones and to maintain the code of 4 different plugins. As I created new plugins, I would copy over my code from previous plugins to make the new ones. This led to newer plugins eventually becoming so different from the original ones that it was difficult to bring features such as user interface sliders to my original plugin WorkLight, for example. When I originally wrote my first published plugin, WorkLight, I wrote the code specifically for that plugin. So when I would go on to create more complex plugins with more than one widget, I would have to manually copy the variables used to create that widget and attach it to all of the other functions. This was not a good idea, so I knew back in October of 2020 that I needed a new solution that would make it easier for me to maintain my current plugins while also being able to create new plugins faster. I decided to apply my techniques that I learned over time by experience and some knowledge from my first semester in college to create a new plugin template. This template was created to be modular and make my plugin development process more efficient. My original template was a maximum of 3 scripts per plugin, usually 1 main script and 2 modules, which meant that the scripts were very long and performed too many actions, so it was hard to update the code over time when I discovered better techniques. My new template fixes this problem by having a main plugin script that delegates tasks to a variety of module scripts. However, due to the plugin permission system issue stated in one of my previous videos, I've had to think about how I would design my system around the situation, since my new template features heavily the one thing that the plugin permission system is against: modules. My solution for that is, I have no solution. I'll just have to rely on my previous video to inform the people that use my plugins that this issue will be present until the permission system is changed. This new system uses a lot of modules, so if it flags a plugin as script injection, you can click accept and reload the place and it should work after that. Feel free to inspect the source code if you're unsure about my plugins. My code is not open source, but I left all my comments in there, so it should be easier to verify as safe. Now, what does this mean for my plugins? Well, now they are all unified under a single system, so I can update individual parts without massively rewriting the entire plugins. So this means that I'll be able to update plugins quicker with new features. This new plugin template also features modular design aspects, so I can add as many widgets or user interface sliders as I want. That should make it easier for me to work on complex plugins later on. The user interface on each plugin has had a major uplift on visual quality. Most of the design layout remains the same, but I've improved user customization in some areas. Some plugins have had major user experience improvements, such as WorkLight now being able to use sliders when editing light properties. UI Smart Align is now even easier to align objects using a custom scale position, and Beveler now allows you to bevel objects with even smaller bevel sizes than before. Sliders have had a major improvement as I designed an entire module to handle sliders specifically. This is the module that I'm most proud of, as it was such a complex issue and everything was much easier after I finished that module. This new system produces a smoother experience with using sliders in my plugins and adds a level of polish to the simple plugins. There's one issue where Roblox does not disconnect the slider mouse button 1-up event tracker that I have to move the slider, so occasionally the slider will get stuck to the mouse cursor, but this can be fixed by double clicking on the slider button and it should properly disconnect. I've tried debugging this issue for a while to see if I could fix it, but it's not an issue that can be easily solved. I solved it with my original slider by disconnecting the tracker if the user moved their cursor outside of the slider. That was a bad user experience design, as it would cause the slider to disconnect when the user wanted to move it from one side to another. Personally, I would rather have this issue and keep the smooth slider experience and return to the original solution that was not user-friendly. I'm not sure of any other major issues that could affect the usability of the plugins. If you find any new issues with the plugins, feel free to send me a direct message on Roblox or comment on the video for the specific plugin that you're having issues with, and I will see what I can do. Since the new plugins are visually different from the original ones, I will need to work on producing new tutorial/promotional videos for each of the plugins, so those should be coming out soon after this video does. As always, thank you for watching. Feedback and suggestions are always welcome in the comment section, and I will see you all in the next one.